So you're probably at a point where you have a business that really sucks. You started it when you do believe that it has potential and it can earn you quite an amount of money, but it really sucks. Or you're probably working a 9-to-5 job, or maybe 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and you still feel like you're struggling. You're not getting that money that you hope to be making. You know, you're struggling with healthcare, you're struggling with accommodation, you're struggling with food, you're just struggling with everything. You need more money. You generally need more money in life. Or you're actually earning nothing. You're just there, your life is sad. You're thinking about where you could even get a job, where you could get your very next penny. What you do need is money. You need to be able to earn money, but for a lot of people, you actually want to be able to out-earn each and everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my 4-step process for you actually out-earning and beating your competition. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And trust me, this works because it's working for me. I mean, I'm implementing it and it's working for me. So I know it will work for you. So if you want this to happen for you, stick around right through to the very end. So the first step is think business. Now you're probably thinking, is business for everyone? Is it possible for each and everyone on earth to actually do a business? No, maybe not. It's probably not for everyone, but is it possible for people or for anyone to succeed at business? Yes, that I do believe. So some people have traits or characters that are better at starting and running businesses than others. Some people just find it really difficult to start a business. But what I do believe is that for anyone, if you do put some form of intention and mind to it, you can actually start and run a successful business. Now, I'm very passionate and I'm kind of the person who 100% believes in businesses. Why? You see, when it does come to businesses, there is no cap on how much you're able to make. Yeah, that is the advantage of the business. I mean, at this point, we're talking about out-earning everyone. We're talking about out-competing everyone. When it does come, for example, to a job where you're earning a salary, you're not going to say you're going to out-earn or out-compete everyone in a job. Yeah, because I mean, people are trained, people are skilled, people go to school each and every day to come and get that job of you. Yeah, so today you might be the most skilled and the best at that workplace, but tomorrow someone else could even be better than you. And if they are better than you, most probably they're going to take your place in the place where you're working. You're going to lose your job. But also the second thing, you being the most skilled and the most talented and the best person at your place of work doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to earn the most money at your place of work. Your boss could be biased, or maybe there's financial restrictions in the company of how much exactly they can pay particular people, how much more they can't pay particular people. So you're not going to earn great amounts of money when you're earning a salary. Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are, even if you're the CEO of which company, there's still a cap on how much you can earn. Unlike the business owners, the people who actually do own the businesses, these have no limit on how much they can earn. Now, they can decide how much they want to pay themselves and how much to keep in the business, but in the end, there's no limit on how much they can earn. Now, there are other things that you could invest in or things that could bring you money, things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Those are a great alternative, but again, the potential compared to a business is nothing, because you're going to save some money, invest it in one of those things, and how much you earn depends on how much you're investing. That's all, yeah? There's a lot of other factors that can influence your success in a business besides just how much you earn. Sometimes it could be luck. Sometimes it could be, just you implementing something really small and changing things, and you're doubling, tripling, quadrupling exactly what you're earning in just 1 year. That's not going to happen with stocks or with bonds or with things like that. So I personally believe businesses are your best bet. The second step is identify a winning business or formula. Now, this is most probably the most critical step in my 4-step process, because here is where most people are likely to go wrong. You've most probably heard the statistic that the biggest percentage of businesses fail within their first 5 years of starting the business. Yeah, in fact, less than half of them will make it to 3 years, and at least between 80 and 90% of them will fail at 5 years. So that means that most businesses do fail. So you need to, first of all, choose the right kind of business. Yeah, so there are mainly 2 types of businesses when you're choosing. One is a service business and the other is a goods business. I mean, you're dealing in actual physical stuff. You're not just offering services, you're selling something physical to someone. So how do you decide, and when do you decide which business does suit you? This is where you actually need to sit down and do a lot of self-actualization. You do a lot of studying of what actually is available in your market. So for example, what is the capital investment required to start the business? Yeah, some businesses are actually great businesses, but how much money you need to put into the business just for the business to kick off and start is crazy. If, for example, you want to start an airline business, I mean, that's a very, very capital intensive business, or maybe a train business. Yeah, very capital intensive. You have to consider, the trains themselves. You have to consider whether you have a network of railways. If not, are you going to be working on the railways or building the railways? If it's an airline business, you think about, the planes, paying airport fees, which are, astronomically high. You're thinking about hiring very trained staff and things like that, which is very complicated. Maybe manufacturing business, for example, steel manufacturing business. I mean, these are very, very capital intensive businesses. So have you considered that? Are you actually able or in position to do that? Maybe it is tech. Yeah, maybe you want to get involved in a particular business, but it requires a particular amount of technology. Do you actually have that technology available to you? Maybe it is staffing requirements. So for example, if you want to start a farming business, what you need to understand is that farming businesses are very, very labor intensive. Yeah, a lot of times farming businesses are going to require a lot of workers, a lot of unskilled labor, I would say. Are you ready to place yourself in a position where you're consistently supervising unskilled labor? Are you even interested in having people work for you? Because if that's not something you're interested in, then you might, for example, start an internet business, yeah, where you're probably delivering a service that probably just requires computers and maybe 2 or 3 people to run each and everything is available. Those are things you need to consider. Does it even suit you? I mean, does it even suit you? It's like you probably want to start a dog breeding business. Someone tells you that a dog breeding business is very profitable, but you fear dogs. You hate dogs, you fear dogs. Can you even run such a business? Yeah, because you're going to have to be around dogs a lot of times. You might not be physically involved in touching them, but you're going to have to be around dogs a lot of times, and now you fear dogs. So you understand the things that you do need to consider. Yeah, the business needs to be able to suit you. Does the business have potential for expanding? Yeah, another one again is dog businesses. For example, for me personally, I once wanted to start a dog breeding business, but when I looked at the circumstances surrounding the area where I am, I just figured out that, well, I think it might be quite difficult for me, because first of all, I needed to get really pure and good breeds, and that's quite difficult to get around. Yeah, for you to consistently get them, I would need to import them and things like that, which takes a really long process. That's number one. Number two, how many people are going to be willing to buy dogs from me? Honestly, yeah, can I sell 200 dogs a month? That would be really difficult. Now, the business is actually profitable, it has high margins, but I don't think I can sell 200 dogs a month. That means I'm not going to get exactly the amount of money I'm thinking about. So those are the things that you need to think about. Yeah, you need to be very critical about thinking about the exact details of the actual business that you want to start with, and you see if it suits you. You need to make sure that it suits you. You're actually ready and willing to put in the work that involves into growing the business, so that you don't make the wrong decision starting out. Now, the third step is become so good at it. Yeah, that's the thing. So once you've decided what you're going to be starting with and what you're going to be doing, the kind of business you're going to be getting into, start the business. First of all, don't start big. Start small. Start on a small scale. And secondly, you need to become really good at it. I mean, the world does not reward mediocres. The world rewards excellent people. The world rewards people who are at the top. Yeah, the world rewards, perfection. So if you're average, you're mediocre, you're not going to get the best results out of the world. So you need to make sure that you invest the very best in terms of your ability into the business to ensure that the business becomes as good as possible. You need to become so good. So how do you become so good? First of all, you need to develop the skills that are required in the business. Yeah, if for example it's going to be an internet marketing business, then you need to develop the skills that are required for internet marketing, maybe graphic designing, sometimes video editing, all these things. Now later on, you might not be the one directly involved in graphic designing and video editing, but it helps when you understand how the things are done, because then you have an eye for what could be going wrong and what's not going wrong. So you need to make sure that you become skilled at it. Number two, you need to attend trainings. Attend as many trainings as possible. Sometimes trainings are really expensive, but I mean, that's the cost to pay. That's the price to pay for you to get the results of whatever you do want. You learn from your mistakes. That's the other thing. Yeah, that's why it's important that you don't start really big. I mean, start small and learn from your mistakes. Yeah, if you start really big and you commit mistakes, those mistakes could be very consequential. They could mean the end of your business, because you'll probably put in too much money and you're not able to bounce back in case something really terrible happens. So you need to make sure that you learn from your mistakes. Every time something bad or terrible happens in the business, you learn from it so that you use it as a stepping stone to make the business better. Also, you have to go through repetition. For you to become excellent and very skilled at anything, you need repetition. You need to do the same thing over and over and over again. In the end, that's why I've told you to focus just on one business. It's quite easy for you to want to focus on very many different types of businesses, focus on this, try out that. But that's going to spread you too thin, and you're not going to have the time and the ability to develop the expertise that's required in just one field. Yeah, so develop expertise in just one field, become so good at it, and the way you do that is by through a lot of repetition. And then also you need to make sure that you push the boundaries. This is in terms of research. Yeah, as much as you can, learn as much as possible about the business that you're in. Sometimes you might be the best, you might turn out to be the very best in terms of, you know, what you're doing, but that doesn't mean that you've reached the limit of what's possible. If you don't keep evolving, if you don't keep getting better, people behind you are going to catch up, because they're going to see what you're doing and they're going to discover what you're doing. They're probably going to go and do the very same thing, and they're going to just be like you. So you need to make sure that you're consistently evolving, doing things in a better way so that you get the best results that you can get. Now the final step is scaling it. Now you've become really good at what you're doing, you understand all the dynamics, everything involved in terms of getting the best results out of what you're doing. Then all you're left with is scaling it and beating your competition. So how do you beat your competition? There are very many different ways of beating your competition. First one is economies of scale. Yeah, so you make the business so big that even if you cut down your price in terms of, you know, your margins at lower margins, you still actually do remain quite profitable, and that means that you can beat your competitors on price levels. Yeah, so if, for example, the business has become so big and then you require maybe raw materials, particular raw materials, to be invested into the business, what that means is that you can buy the raw materials for cheaper because you're buying on a large scale. You probably get exemptions depending on where you're getting them from, and that means that your cost of production becomes lower. But also, because you know you're doing distribution, you're selling things and all that kind of stuff, you're going to have expenses in terms of, you know the cost of sales, yeah, in terms of distribution and all these other things, and all those can be minimized once your scale in terms of the business is really big. Now a lot of other people won't be able to have the advantage of scale, and if they don't have this advantage of scale, it means it's very difficult for them to continue competing with you, because I mean, you've brought the price down, and of course everyone is going to come and buy from you instead of the other person because of price. I mean, most people are price sensitive. That's the honest truth. That's not what we would want to happen as a business person, but in the end that's what ends up happening. So most people are price sensitive, and if you can put your price down and scale, have, you know, as big a business as possible, you're going to beat your competition. Another one is controlling the supply chain. Yeah, so if you can control the supply chain, or control literally the entire chain of production from beginning to the end. Yeah, so the raw materials, if you can manufacture the raw materials yourself, yeah, then you go into the manufacturing plant. You deal with the entire manufacturing plant. It's just like, for example, what Tesla does. Yeah, Tesla tries to control each and everything along the entire line. They will go and get the raw materials for manufacturing the lithium batteries. They manufacture the lithium batteries themselves. They manufacture the cars, all the electronic components of the car themselves. Then once they have made the car, they control, the selling point. They sell the car to the final consumer themselves. They control the servicing and each and everything. They literally control everything. They control the fueling, which is, the electric charging points and all those things. And that means that, they can get profit from every point. Yeah, if there's a competitor, they can literally just cut into their own profit at a particular point and beat the other competition. So if you can control the entire chain of production, then you can beat your competition. Another one is patenting what you're doing or what you've created. If it's possible for you to, create patents, it's like copyright ideally, but it's patents. Yeah, so you've probably come up with something, or you've come up with a system that you're utilizing at work. You've come up with a formula for something. You patent it so that no one else can utilize it for a particular amount of time, maybe 50, 100 years, 200 years. No one can utilize it, and that means only you can utilize it. And if it's very successful, that means you're going to get crazy amounts of money that no one else is even able to get into, simply because it's patented. Another one is buying your competition. Of course, this is in the end creating a monopoly. In the end, everything we're talking about is creating a monopoly. But for you as a businessman, that's what you want. Yeah, the market and the world ideally doesn't want that, and we all don't want that, because the higher the competition, the better in terms of results for the customers. But for you as a business person, you want to create a monopoly, and one way of doing this is buying your competitors. I mean, if it's, for example, multiple farms and you're selling something, let's say you're a beef producing farm in your area and you're the biggest beef producing farm in your area, or you're probably a small one. What you can do is that if you do have the money, just go and buy each and everyone else. I mean, just offer them money that they can't refuse and buy them over, and then you become the biggest, and then you can set the price and control the price of the entire industry, and then you'll be thriving in the industry. That's another way way of killing your competition. And the number 5 is through branding. Yeah, now branding is one that I love because it gives you the ability to make huge margins without directly affecting your prices. Yeah. Now the problem with a lot of the other things, especially the one of scaling up, is that you have to cut into your margins. Yeah, you have to cut into yourself. But with the advantage of this is if you're branding, then you can create a brand that people associate with and they only want to buy from it. And then once your brand is good enough, it sets the standard for whatever the price is, and then you can just sell at that price. Everyone will come and buy from you at that price, and you're literally not competing with other people because for you, yours is a different brand. It's different if you're selling something that's not branded. I mean, everyone is going to relate to you based on your price. Yeah. But if you're selling something that's branded and everyone understands the brand, it's like Adidas selling a shoe, for example. Yeah. A lot of other people can't sell a shoe at, let's say, $100. Only Adidas and Nike or a few other companies are able to sell at that price, because when I go to an Adidas shop and I'm like, I want this shoe, and then I see a $150 price tag on it, I won't be like, what the hell? A shoe at $150? But a lot of other places, if you just go to a shop over there, find a shoe at $150, you're thinking to yourself, why are they selling this shoe at $150? Now, the price is not the problem when it comes to Nike and Adidas and all these other people, because they have branded themselves and everyone identifies with the brand. They understand what to expect out of the brand. Now, this is a really great way that you can integrate into your business and ensure that you can kill your competition, because that simply means that you make a lot of money, you'll be able to sell a lot of whatever it is, whether it's a service or a good, while making a lot of money at high margins and literally killing your competition. And did you know that simply understanding a few principles of money can actually flip your life around in just 6 months and make you rich and wealthy in just 6 months? Well, I've made a video about that. I'll leave a link to that video right here. Check it out. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. That way you never miss out on an upload. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.